got here? Come on in, Periscope. Come on in. It's been a while. Let me know if you can see me. Let me know if you can hear me as you are coming in. Share with your followers. Share on social media. There we go. I think you can see me good here. Share with your followers. Share with your social media outlets. Hey, everybody. Come on in the room. Hey, hey. I love you too. Hey, hey. What's going on? It's good to talk to you guys. Good to be back. I'll be coming back on regularly, not every day, but you guys are going to see me often, at least twice a week, so that I can help you guys out with your process, get back on some accountability, help you keep your legs closed and keep everything together. I know some of you guys have been victorious in a lot of these areas. Some of you have been struggling still. So I am back so that I can help you get on track and get focused. I am Apostle Raleigh Mayberry. For any of my first timers that's on here, I am the founder of the Free Indeed movement. It is a movement that is dedicated to the healing, deliverance, and restoration of those who have struggled with any form of sexual sin. So it is absolutely, positively an honor for the Lord to use me in such a capacity. O'Shea, what's going on? Was making fun of you in these selfies you got on Facebook. So listen, tonight I know it's a little late, but nevertheless, I didn't want to leave my Tuesday evening without giving you guys what I had on my heart for you. So I just wanted to give you a quick word about focus and about the power of focus. One of the issues that I believe we have when we approach deliverance ministry is a lack of focus. I think that we have issues with setting our hearts and our minds on focusing on the plan of God for our lives, the purpose of God for our lives, focusing on what it is that the Lord is desiring to do in and through us, and not allowing distractions to detour us and get us off focus and push us away from the plan. One thing that you have to remember is that God has a plan for each and every one of our lives, and it is up to us to still ourselves and focus enough so that we can understand the plan of God for our lives. When we get off focus, we start to get rattled, and we start to open doors, and we start to do things and allow things that we need to be separating ourselves from, and we need to be careful of. We need to be conscious of our relationships, and we need to be conscious of who we are allowing around us. But if we are having trouble focusing, if we are struggling in our focus and in our ability to set our sights on what God is doing through us and what God desires to do through us, then we will ultimately not see the place of real deliverance. Some of us have the appearance of deliverance, but we don't remain focused enough to see that thing all the way through. Some of us get to a place where we experience moments of victory, and we experience times of victory, and we feel like we have overcome in certain areas, and we start to get complacent and let our guards down, and we start losing our focus. So the devil uses distractions to come around us, to come in our lives, to whisper in our ears. He'll use the people around you. He'll use your family. He will use jobs. He will use whatever he can to steal your focus. And the moment you feel comfortable enough to let your guards down is the moment that the enemy can come in and undo all the work that has been done to get you to where you are. So when you get to a place where you've experienced a certain measure of deliverance, and when you get to a place where you have experienced a certain level of freedom, you've got to guard it and protect it by maintaining your focus. That means focus in prayer. That means focus in consecration. That means focus in the direction that you're going in. That means focus in everything that's happening and everything that's going on in your life. life, you have to maintain your focus. Focus in fasting. Focus on consecrating. When I tell people all the time, they ask, how do you maintain your freedom? And I say through prayer, through consecration, through worship, through making sure that I have maintained my relationship with God, through making sure that I maintain my focus with God. Fasting is never an option. Consecrating is not an option. Turning the plate over is not an option. Crying out to God, no matter how good I'm feeling, no matter how strong I'm feeling, I maintain my focus. And it's important to maintain your focus because you don't want anything to throw you off and undo all the work that has been done. Deliverance from sexual sin in particular is not an easy thing. You put in work. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes energy. And you want to make sure that you absolutely, positively protect that. And so you have to do what you got to do to maintain your focus. Fasting is extremely important because it tames your flesh. It teaches your flesh that God is in charge. It teaches your flesh that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. It teaches your flesh not to depend on worldly pleasures. It teaches your flesh not to depend on other emotional avenues to get your fulfillment and other lustful avenues to get your fulfillment. But it teaches you to seek out fulfillment in Jesus Christ. I think a lot of times we get discouraged on our journey, and a lot of times we get thrown off on our journey because we are not crucifying our flesh. We're still depending on man to deliver us, and we're still depending on other things to give us comfort, and we're still depending on other things to give us peace. But God said he'll keep you in perfect peace if your mind is stayed on him. And so when we make Jesus the center of our focus in everything that we're doing, in your fight for your freedom, in your fight for your deliverance, then you will see the end of that thing. We get to the middle of our deliverance process and we start getting off focus and we start getting all haughty and feeling like I'm feeling good and I don't have to fast anymore and I don't need to pray anymore. And that's when your enemy slips right in through that crack of carnality that you've opened up because you've lost your focus. You took your eyes off of Jesus. You took your eyes off of your Redeemer. You took your eyes off of your deliverer. And so you have to do what is necessary to maintain your focus. Don't let your enemy trip you up. But if you said this month, I'm not going to be on social media because I know social media is a distraction from me, then don't allow your flesh to get comfortable and convince you to end that fast early. If you're doing it for 30 days, stay the course for the 30 days. If you're starting to get weak and weary, cry out a little bit longer and refuse to get up and refuse to turn your plow and refuse to turn the plate back over until God has done his perfect work. So yes, by any means necessary, keep your focus. Even if you're feeling the best that you've ever felt in your life, don't allow yourself to get tripped up by that, but allow yourself to stay the course. Even if you're feeling like the fasting is not working, don't allow yourself to move in discouragement and don't allow yourself to start getting hurt and start turning away from it, but allow yourself to maintain your focus that this is what God desires for my life. So this is what I'm going to do. I am telling you now, if you want to see lasting results in your deliverance process, you have to stay the course. You have to remain focused. You cannot turn your plow in the middle of it because you don't feel like it anymore. Deliverance is not about how you feel and what you're thinking, but deliverance is about your obedience to God. If the word says thou shalt not fornicate, then guess what? Just because my flesh desires to do it does not mean I obey my flesh. But deliverance is not about what I'm feeling. I feel like fornicating. My flesh is calling for this. I feel like turning on the computer. I feel feel like responding to the inbox. I feel like calling this person right now, but my deliverance depends upon my willingness to be obedient to the word of God. And if the word of God says go left, I'm going to go left, and my flesh is going to be crucified. We don't put in the work to stay focused and really get to the place where we are being delivered and experiencing deliverance in Jesus Christ. So stay focused, people of God. Some of you all are on these deliverance journeys, and you are starting to feel like maybe the prayer and the fasting is not working, and maybe maybe it's too radical to say I'm doing all of this fasting and cutting all of this off and cutting all of these people off. But you know what? It's going to be very well worth it in the end. I was sharing with somebody, I was so focused on my deliverance process that in the beginning of my process, I couldn't carry my Bible around at work with me. And so you know what I did? I took a marker and I started writing scriptures on my arm and writing scriptures on my hand so that I can look down at it when I would start getting weak and weary at work, and when I needed reminders while I was working and while I was going about my day. I was so focused on my process and what I needed God to do in and through me that I decided by any means necessary, I'm going to obtain my freedom. I wouldn't listen to anything but Christian radio and worship music. And when I started getting weak, and when somebody walked past me at work and wanted to wink at me and get my attention, I looked down at my scriptures and I reminded myself to stay the course. I reminded myself not to look to the left, not to look to the right, not to look behind me, but to keep my eyes focused forward on my deliverer and my redeemer. So sometimes you've got to do the uncommon thing to get delivered. We want deliverance to be comfortable, but when you want to be delivered from sexual sin, I tell people all the time that this is not just something that the devil wants for you for a moment, but the devil is after your destiny. He's after your identity, and it is a literal war. There is a war on your identity. There's a war on your sexual character. There's a war on your mental stability. There's a war on your purity. There's a war for your members. The devil wants it, and he's not going to give up that ground easily. And so the only way you're going to snatch that ground back from the enemy and give yourself fully over to God is if you maintain your focus. So if you slip in your prayer time and in your time of devotion, set your alarm clock so that you can get up and cry out to your deliverer before your enemy has the opportunity to get his hands on you. If you slipped up in your consecration, there is no condemnation. Get yourself back up and get back to it again. It doesn't matter if you were doing good and then you slipped off for a month. This is your hour. This is your moment to make the determination that just because I fell down in this moment, I don't have to stay and die here, but the redeeming power of Jesus Christ has the authority and the ability to lift me back up and get me back on track. As long as I'm willing to stay the course and not give up in the middle of the race. Don't let discouragement take you out. Don't let your family and friends convince you that you're doing too much, that you don't need to be at church every day, that you ain't got to go to both services and go to prayer and do the conferences and everything else. If you know that that's what you need to do to keep your focus, then don't let anybody else convince you otherwise. You have to stay the course. So many of us get discouraged in the middle of the fight, and it is not the will of God for you to give up in the middle of the fight. But sexual purity is your right. Deliverance from sexual sin is your right. Don't let your enemy convince you that it is a luxury. It is not a luxury, but freedom is your right. Don't let dysfunction teach you that it is something that you should, that is not available to everybody, that this is what you were born into and it's just a part of my family. One of my family members said to me in my weight loss journey that your entire family was heavy set. It just runs in your genes. Don't beat yourself over it. But while I appreciate the encouragement, I also realize and understand that it is dysfunctional to accept what God says I don't have to accept. If health should be my portion, then it doesn't matter what the generations did before me. Health is going to be my portion. If deliverance from sexual sin should be your portion, it doesn't matter who struggled with it before you. It doesn't matter who got entangled in it before you. Freedom is your portion. So you have to stay focused. There's no shortcuts to this thing, my people. I have told you guys this time and time again. There are no shortcuts to this thing. There is no microwave movement when it comes to your deliverance. If you want lasting change, if you want lasting deliverance, you've got to fast. You've got to pray. You've got to turn the fire up in your worship time. You've got to stay focused on embedding the scriptures in your heart that you might not sin against God. You have to be focused on keeping his precepts and his testimonies in your heart so that you'll remain pure. You have to remain focused on your spiritual growth so that you don't fall off and end up going all the way backwards and forfeiting all the work that has been put in to get you to your deliverance. Listen, if I'm talking to you today, if you're somebody who's been struggling in your process today, I want you to pick yourself back up, end that pity party, kick those devils out of your house, out of your mind, and out of your life, and make the determination that today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not Tuesday, not next month, but right now in this moment, whatever time zone you in at 8:56 p.m. Central Standard Time, this is my moment where my mind is made up and the devil tried to throw me off course and he tried to get me off track and he tried to stop me. But nevertheless, I pick myself up and I cry out to my God, my deliverer, to rescue me from the hands of my enemy. This is my moment to receive my freedom. This is my moment to receive my deliverance. I pulled myself out of the game, but this is the moment where I pull myself back in. I stopped reading my word, but I'm going to pick the scriptures up today and I'm going to eat my word and I'm going to cry and pray and worship myself to sleep tonight. And I'm going to wake up tomorrow with praise on my lips, because my God, my deliverer and my redeemer has come to set me free. So if this is for you tonight, if you have been struggling, if you have been in turmoil, if you have fallen away, or if you know someone who's been struggling, if you know someone who has fallen away, just whisper in their ear that God will never leave you nor forsake you, and that this is your moment for freedom. This is your moment. That's what I want to leave you with. No matter what you thought, no matter what you heard, no matter what you've seen, no matter what you've done, no matter what you've experienced, this is your moment. I want you to tell yourself that this is my moment. This is my moment for change. This is my moment for freedom. This is my moment for deliverance. This is my moment for breakthrough. This is my moment to be set free, because whom the Son sets free is free indeed. So this is my moment, and I'm not going to miss my moment again. I'm not going to let this opportunity pass me by. I'm not going to let my flesh and carnality convince me otherwise. But this is my moment. I want you to post that on your social media outlets. I want you to text some family and friends. I want you to write it on a wall in your house, write it on a card and put it in your wallet. This is my moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, not next month, but this is my moment. So that's what I wanted to share with you. The power of focus, the power of maintaining your focus, the power of being free indeed. I don't care how your devils are fighting you right now. You have what it takes to be free. This is your moment, my brothers and my sisters. So I love you guys. That's the simple word for tonight. This is my moment for freedom. No matter how far backwards you've gone, pull yourself back up and allow God to redeem the time. Don't worry about playing catch up. Don't worry about comparing your process to somebody else's process. Don't worry about comparing your freedom to somebody else's freedom. You focus on getting what God has for you. So this is your moment. This is your moment for deliverance. This is your moment for breakthrough. And this is your moment for freedom. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in with the General, Apostle Raleigh Mayberry. If you have questions, concerns, and you desire to reach out to Free Indeed Movement, our email address is actually in my bio. It's freeindeedmovement@yahoo.com. And my PayPal is up there as well for those of you all that are blessed by the ministry of Free Indeed Movement and desire to see us continue to move by the power of God and to expand and do more. That is up there as well. That is in my bio as well, paypal.me/freeindeedmovement. So I love you guys. Listen, continue sharing this broadcast and the replay with your followers and with your people. And I will see you guys again on Friday night. We have to get back to our Friday night scopes, our Friday night freedom scopes. So I'll see you guys again on Friday evening. But until then, maintain your focus and remember, this is your moment.